Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. Happy Freaky Friday to all you freaks out there. I hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. Today is Freaky Friday, guys, which of course means we have our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay to go ahead and share with you. And I was feeling ballsy today, so we have a 5-leg parlay plus 1,100 odds. And you guys are going to be shocked by this. We're using FanDuel today. Normally, I use DraftKings for these parlays. This video is obviously coming out a little later in the day. Apologies for that. Had a little bit of a hectic morning. Plus, we had some other videos scheduled, so we had to get out first. So this video is coming out a little later in the day. The benefit of that is we can actually use FanDuel, because FanDuel, I've noticed, they don't really release a lot of their alternate lines and a lot of their player props until a little bit later in the day. It's kind of slim pickings in the morning. But DraftKings, usually early bird gets the worm, so they typically get more of a shout out here on the channel, because come 10 a.m., 9 a.m. on a Monday or a Tuesday or any day of the week, really, DraftKings typically has more available. So apologies for being late, but it did present us with some pretty good opportunities and some pretty good alternate lines using FanDuel. And I've got some really great props, I think, to share with you guys in today's video. As always, people, please make sure to comment freaky down below. And if this parlay hits one lucky commenter, we're going to up it today. We're going to do a $40 Amazon gift card. So plus 1,100 parlay. If we hit this bad boy, I think we deserve to give out a little bit more money. So a $40 Amazon gift card to anybody who, I should say one lucky commenter. One lucky commenter who comments freaky down below. One of you, if this parlay hits, will win a free $40 Amazon gift card. All right. Real quick, guys, I know this intro is going a little long. We're going to recap last night before we dive into today's parlay. And if you can't tell, guys, the ladder challenge obviously did miss. We hit 1 out of 2 legs. Austin Reeves over 24.5 points plus assists. That did hit. Unfortunately, Anthony Edwards over 2.5 3-pointers did not. So that's the end of the ladder challenge. We will do another one later in the month. I do promise to do that, especially with only not even making up the first step. But the first step broke, and we fell and smashed our faces on the ground. So not a great ladder challenge. We'll do another one later in the month. He shot 2 for 9 from 3. Should have hit it, but it is unfortunate. However, the bright side of things, we went 3-0 on our single bets. So we actually did have an overall positive night. We actually still were profitable despite losing the parlay. So, kind of mixed feelings on last night. We did pretty well, but we also lost the ladder challenge. We went 3-0 plus 2.27 units. We're now 87-73 on the year with our single bets. We're 8-17 on parlays, but we're still up over 5 units on the season coming into today's video. All right, guys, with all of that out of the way, let's finally dive into today's Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay coming your way right now. Jumping right into the outlier screen, guys, our first pick in today's slate, our first player prop of our 5-leg parlay is going to be Mark Williams under 24.5 points plus rebounds in the Hornets-Lions game. Lions, woof. Got football in the brain. Hornets-Pistons game. Sorry, guys. 7 p.m. tip-off. We're going Mark Williams here, under 24.5 points plus rebounds. These are all mostly alternate lines here. We're using FanDuel here, minus 182, this prop on FanDuel. And the data is really solid here. You see 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under, a 90% hit rate, averaging 19.2 points plus rebounds per game over the last 10 games. So far in 2024, a 90% hit rate. He's only played 10 games this year, and in 9 of those 10 games, he's cashed the under. But even if we go and stretch it out to the last 20 games, dating back to last season, you see an 80% hit rate, 16 out of 20 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 20.1 points plus rebounds per game. Now, we do have an elevated line here, and the reason being is that he finally played a lot of minutes. For the first time this year, he played a healthy amount of minutes his last game. It was an overtime game, but he played 31 minutes in that loss for Charlotte. So you're seeing his minutes start to go up. The last 3 games, he's played at least 22 minutes. That's making people want to go ahead and bet the over, and he has gotten close to this line multiple times. With the increased minutes, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking the over is the right play. That's why the line is a little bit elevated here. The sports books are kind of trying to market correct to ensure they don't give up too much money to winners. But despite that, I still like the under in this spot. The head-to-head data is also pretty solid. It's very small sample size. The last time he played almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, October 27, 2023 was the last time he played against Detroit. He had 3 points and 2 rebounds in that game. However, he did play 20 minutes, actually, believe it or not. He played 20 minutes in that game, 21 minutes almost, had 2 points and 3 rebounds. Now, obviously, the data is green across the board, mainly because he just hasn't played a lot this year. Limited number of games, limited number of minutes for Mark Williams. But I do like the matchup spot a lot here versus centers. Now, overall, the Detroit Pistons are giving up 19 points per game to opposing centers. That's 20th in the NBA. They are a top 5 rebounding team in terms of rebounds allowed to centers, only giving up 11.1 rebounds per game. However, if we go ahead and switch over to the dashboard, this is the NBA dashboard that Ev, the founder of Guy Boston Sports, I'm sure if you guys are watching my video, you know who Ev is. He creates this. He updates it every single day, and he's actually going to be having some interesting announcements coming up about the dashboard. So if you're not following us on Discord, please go ahead and join the Guy Boston Sports Discord. The link is down below in the description with some pretty exciting news regarding the dashboard. We're going to be moving it over to the GuyBostonSports.com website. It is a membership thing. You're going to have to become a member. However, the picks are always free. I want to go ahead and put that out there right away before people start criticizing and saying, oh, you guys are going to start charging for picks. We will never charge for picks. It's always free. We're only charging for the membership, for the opportunity to get some special perks, including access to this dashboard. We're going to start using this dashboard more and more in our videos along with Outlier. It's a really great thing, and Ed does a great job, so we're going to go ahead and utilize that. Specifically with the recent trends with defense versus position. So that's what I want to take a look at. So if you scroll down below here, this is the defense versus position over the last 7 games. And so as we saw in Outlier, overall, the Detroit Pistons have been pretty solid defensively against centers. Excuse me, not very solid defensively. They've been solid in terms of rebounding, but in terms of points, they've actually been, bottom 10 in the NBA. They gave up a healthy amount of points to opposing centers overall this year. However, if we go ahead and look here at the dashboard, over the last 7 games, now red obviously means they're very good defensively. Green means not very good defensively. Green means it's a good matchup for us. Red means not a very good matchup for us here in terms of the over. And so if you look here on the dashboard here, the right side of the screen, you see the Detroit Pistons right now over the last 7 games, they are the 7th best defense against centers in terms of points allowed. So really good numbers here for the Pistons defense when playing centers, including rebounds, 5th in rebounds, 7th in points. So overall on the year, the Pistons have been giving up a healthy amount of points to centers, but if we narrow that data down to the last 7 games, you do see an increase in the numbers, which is good for us. They've been a lot better defensively versus centers. Add that to the fact that he's been covering this line all season long. I'm willing to go ahead and take my chances and rock with this under on Mark Williams under 24.5 points plus rebounds. I just am not confident he's going to keep getting consistently 30 plus minutes a game as he works his way back from injury. All right, guys, next up, and I can already tell people are going to be critical of this one in the comments, but I'm telling you guys it's a really good spot. We have Magic Raptors for the second leg of our 5-leg parlay, 7:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going Goga Bitadze of the Orlando Magic over 12.5 rebounds plus assists. This is an alternate line, minus 188 on FanDuel. And at first glance, the data does not look fantastic. We look at the overall data, right? 47% hit rate for Goga Bitadze this year, 14 out of 30 games, averaging 10.53 rebounds plus assists per game this season. However, if we go ahead and narrow that data down to the last 10 games or so when he started to see more minutes due to all the injuries Orlando has had, he's starting to get healthy minutes. He's been in the starting lineup more often for them. You see a 70% hit rate on the over the last 10 games, averaging 14.4 rebounds plus assists per game over his last 10 games. So the numbers have been looking really good. Even when he misses this line of 12.5, they're very slight misses. He had a really disappointing performance the last time out versus the Pistons on January 1st, but overall, over the last 10 games, again, like I talked about, he's been looking a lot better. And look at the matchup here versus Toronto. It's a dream matchup. Overall this year, the Raptors 25th in rebounds allowed and 30th in assists allowed to opposing centers. If we look at down below the last 10 games for Goga Bitadze, he's averaging almost 30 minutes per game, 29.3 minutes per game. He's averaging just shy of 17 rebound chances per game, and his potential assists pretty solid, 4.7 over his last 10. If we narrow it down to the last 5 games here for Goga, which we do have a 60% hit rate, you see potential assists, 6.4 potential assists, and 15.6 rebound chances. That Pistons game obviously brought that value down, but a lot of potential assists and a lot of rebound opportunities for Goga Bitadze over his last 5 games. So that's really good for us. And again, referring back to the dashboard, over the last 7 games, Toronto, you see 23rd in points allowed, 26th in rebounds allowed, and 17th in assists allowed to opposing centers. So a lot of good data there. 26th in rebounds, one of the worst teams in terms of giving up rebounds to opposing centers, and 17th in assists is pretty good. So overall, really good data across the board for Goga. I do understand it's Goga Bitadze. He's not a household name, but I'm telling you, really solid prop here. All right, guys, our third pick in today's slate, we have the Knicks Thunder game, 8 p.m. tip-off. We got Josh Hart of the New York Knicks over 15.5 rebounds plus assists. This is not an alternate line. This is a straight-up bet. Minus 104 on FanDuel, almost even odds. Definitely risky from an odds standpoint, but the data seems to show this could be a really good number. Now, overall this year for Josh Hart, a 45% hit rate on this over. 15 out of 33 games he's cashed it, averaging 14.45 rebounds plus assists per game. However, if we go ahead and narrow this down to just the last 5 games, he's been going sicko, going crazy over his last 5 games. 4 of his last 5, he's cashed the over, an 80% hit rate, averaging 20.2 rebounds plus assists per game over his last 5 games. That's why the number is where it's at. This is not an alternate line, like I said, but this is why the line is elevated to the point that it is. Some really huge performances here for Josh Hart. In the head-to-head data, you see the last time they played on March 31st of last year, he had 15 rebounds and 6 assists against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, overall, the Thunder are the second worst rebounding team in the NBA in general, averaging 47.4 rebounds allowed per game. And assists, they're actually not too terrible. If you look at shooting guards, we narrow it down to shooting guards. On the season, they're top 10 in both categories. But again, you're going to get used to me saying this. If we refer back to the dashboard here, guys, over the last 7 games, we narrow that down to just the last couple weeks, last 2 weeks, I should say. You see Oklahoma City versus shooting guards, 21st in rebounds allowed and 25th in assists. So you see here, the numbers get a lot better if we narrow down. I can go ahead and zoom in here too. Just so you guys can go ahead and get the advantages. So that's the last 7 games. Again, looking at Josh Hart. Now, Josh Hart, I know he technically starts as like the small forward, but he's a shooting guard in reality. And I do think Josh Hart, he's listed as a shooting guard. He plays like a shooting guard. I know technically they put him at small forward. He's a guard, though. He's going to get his rebounds. He's going to get his assists. Really good matchup spot here for Josh Hart against OKC. And again, he covered the last time he played them. He's been covering it a lot lately. I think it's a really solid spot to take a flyer on. It's going to help the odds of this parlay go up to the level that they are. And actually, if you guys are worried about the whole shooting guard, small forward conundrum, the little pan situation versus small forwards overall this year, OKC 29th in rebounds allowed, 20th in assists. So whatever way you spin this, guys, it looks like a good matchup for Josh Hart. All right, guys, our 4th leg in our 5-leg parlay. This is an alternate line. The data's going to look a lot better on this one. We have Trae Young against the Lakers, 10:30 p.m. Tip-off. Trae Young over 19.5 points against the LA Lakers. Whenever he plays the Lakers, you got to go ahead and take a look at his props. He's cashed his over in 8 of his last 10 games, an 80% hit rate, averaging 25.7 points per game over his last 10 games. So far in 2024, a 63% hit rate on this over. 20 out of 32 games this year, he's cashed the over, averaging 22.28 points per game this season. And honestly, his efficiency numbers are starting to go up. He's starting to become a more efficient player, which obviously is very big for Atlanta. The head-to-head data, each of his last 2 times he's faced off with the Lakers, he's cashed this over, averaging 28.5 points per game. They have played once this year already, back on December 6th, about a month ago. He had 31 points and what was a 2-point victory for Atlanta. Overall, this year, the Lakers 20th in points allowed in general. Not a very good defensive team, if we're being honest. Versus point guards, though, they actually do rank pretty decently. However, you got to remember, they just traded D'Lo. That whole thing changes. And again, if we refer back to the dashboard here, guys, the defense versus position last 7 games for the Lakers versus point guards, 29th, the second worst defense in the NBA over the last 7 games against opposing point guards. So they're giving up a ton of points. Point guards are having field days when they play the Lakers. And Trae Young already has success in general when he plays LA. But now you add the fact that over the last 7 games, they've gotten even worse versus point guards. Seems like a really good matchup spot here for Trae Young. You look at the shot volume that he takes here. He's playing about 36 minutes per game, taking almost 17 shots and almost 9 threes per game. So the volume is definitely there for Trae Young. And going backwards in time here, guys, our 5th and final leg of today's parlay is coming from the Cavs-Mavs game, 8:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers over 27.5 points plus rebounds, kind of similar to the Josh Hart prop. This is not an alternate line. We're just basically taking it as a single value bet, minus 122 on FanDuel. So if you guys don't want to do the parlay, you could just rock with this as a single bet. But we are going to go ahead and throw this in here. Overall, the last 10 games, not very good for Donovan Mitchell. 3 of his last 10 games, 30% hit rate. He just barely misses, though. He's hovering on that line, which is encouraging. He's averaging 26 points plus rebounds per game over the last 10 games. If we look at the season so far, a 44% hit rate on this over. 14 out of 32 games he's cashed it, averaging 28.22 points plus rebounds per game. However, we look at the head-to-head data. The last time he played versus Dallas, which is, of course, last year on February 27th, he had a massive game, 31 points and 7 rebounds the last time he played Dallas. Overall this season, Dallas has been okay defensively, 13th in points overall, 16th in rebounds, not too bad. The injury to Luka Doncic is certainly not making this any easier for the Dallas Mavericks, but if we look at the last 7 games for Dallas here, you see versus shooting guards, 16th in points, 19th in rebounds. So you see the numbers, not like a great, huge advantage, but overall, not a bad spot. Pretty good numbers here. And the fact that Donovan Mitchell, He did cash the last time he played. If you look at the last 3 games, too, for Dallas defensively here, the top left corner of the screen here, Dallas, over the last 3 games defensively, 25th in the NBA in terms of points allowed. So you see over the last 3 games, they're giving him a pretty decent amount of points. Since Luka Doncic has gone out, their defense is starting to drop a little bit here. And like I said, Donovan Mitchell, last year, he actually cashed his line at a 68% hit rate last season. This year so far, playing a little less selfish. He's kind of deferring to his teammates a little bit more, which obviously has helped Cleveland immensely. But I do like Donovan Mitchell still in this spot. I think Dallas defensively could have a really hard time matching up with him. And there are still some games, and you can see on the screen here, there are still some times this year where Donovan Mitchell's going to go ahead and get his. I think this could be one of those spots for him. So I like the over here for Donovan Mitchell. All right, guys, those are all 5 legs in today's parlay. So we have Trae Young over 19.5 points, Mark Williams under 24.5 points plus rebounds, Goga Bitadze over 12.5 rebounds plus assists, Josh Hart over 15.5 rebounds plus assists, and Donovan Mitchell over 27.5 points plus rebounds. You parlay all 5 together, you parlay a plus 1,036 odds on FanDuel. Really good numbers there. Some of these lines are available on multiple sportsbooks. You can obviously use them however you want to use them, parlay with them with something else. But the parlay that we're riding with here is this one right here, 5-leg parlay, plus 1,036 odds. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching one more time. Please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Make sure to comment freaky. And if this parlay hits, one lucky commenter will receive a free $40 Amazon gift card. I'll be back tomorrow, guys, with another NBA player prop video. But until then, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Freaky Friday. Have some fun out there. Let's keep it. I'm gonna keep PG. I was gonna say something. Let's keep it PG. It's Freaky Friday, though. You know what I'm saying. Have some fun out there. We'll see you back here tomorrow with another NBA player prop video. But until then, hope you're all winners, guys. Enjoy your Friday night.